The long wait is finally over, and we have the January update for Lost Ark. Hello, my friends, my name is Wilkie, and we're gonna take a look at the January team update. I can only say this much. It's crazy, it's wild, it's packed with information, and I don't think most people of us have seen this coming. So here we are. The link is always going to be in the description below. New features. Now, this is the elephant in the room, and I think this is both good and bad, to say the least. But anyways, before launch, we will be sharing a full list of patch notes, but we wanted to share a few planned new features. So we will actually get a full breakdown of everything, which is really good. But Yorn region. This is the first of the two tier 2 regions in the game. This is the continent that follows up after Rohendel. So now we have it confirmed that we will not start with tier 1, but further content. Yorn region, they're just basically explaining a few things here and there, what the storyline is. New bosses, chaos dungeons, and more. Phaeton region, which is the follow-up continent for Yorn, which is also tier 2. In addition to Yorn, the content of Phaeton has also been added for launch. So, same thing here, new bosses, new chaos dungeons, and more. Punica region, now this is where the real crazy part begins. Punica, or also for the other people known as Papunica, is the tier 3 continent. You heard it right. We're gonna start with tier 3 in the game. Now, this is crazy. I don't even know how to put this in words. I still kind of are digesting this. This one's completely, at least for me, out of the blue. Well, not completely, but like 95% of the blue. We have seen the leaked videos where there was like hints of tier 3 content and everything, but now we have it black and white, officially stated that we will get Punica at launch. Also, tier 3 content, there will be available Chaos Dungeons or Reha's Well, which are the Abyss Dungeons, which are those two. So if you go to Abyss Dungeons here, we will have Reha's Hard, which is divided into Distraught Forest and Rotting Glade. There's both normal and hard modes. So we will actually start with the Abyss Dungeons in tier 3. Also, we're gonna start with, I think they're calling it Velganus, which is also known as Belganus for the other people playing on the Russian server. So, if you go back to this post, as well, Chaos Dungeon and the Velganus Garden Raid. So, there's actually quite a bit of content. I assume the Argos Raid, or the Argos Abyss Raid, is not going to be in there because they didn't specifically state it. So this is essentially what we launched Papunica or Punica with on the Russian server. When we first got Punica, this is all we had. So this is like the bare bone tier 3 launch. Additional tier 3 content will be added to the game post-launch in order to set the pace. So this is essentially what the end game is going to look like at the start of the server launch, with potentially new content up to boot. Now I can only stress this. This is wild. I don't really know how they plan on pushing people through the lower tiers, how they plan to not create a huge divide between fresh players, existing players, people that do like to spend money on the game, or just straight up veterans who are sitting down there 16 hours a day just trying to push hard. Because there are very distinct differences in all of those 3 continents, which I think is kind of strange, because they're invalidating quite a few parts of their own content here by starting it with that way. I mean, the Smelgate CEO said it in the Laon that they want to bring out tier 3 as fast as possible because of the player retention for the Balkan Raid, which I understand. I don't quite understand this pacing though, but who knows, maybe there's going to be catch-up mechanics, maybe there's going to be stat compressions, content compressions, events to help us out. We don't really know any of this yet, but what we know so far is that this is what our current endgame is going to look like. And that's going to change almost everybody's plans dramatically. Like, my plans video was essentially push my character into, like, Rohendel, and then start making alts. But with this on the line, I don't even know when I will start playing my first alt. Like, it's a completely different landscape that we're going into, and I definitely have to think about how this is going to pan out, and how I want to tackle this new content overload at this point. Steam achievements, I think this is something nice. And character voice selection, this is really cool. The rest of the information is actually much more positive. I don't think this is a negative change. I think it's a questionable change, or rather, I'd like to see their ideas or their thought process. Like, I would really love to pick the brain of whoever decided this launch strategy, right? Because I'm sure they thought about this day and night, and they had meetings and they had like brainstormings about how this could affect us, right? Like what's the progress going to look like on the Western server? How is a new player going to do this? What's the general progress route? How fast are we bringing out new stuff? All of this is I'm fairly certain they thought about this. I would just really love to see what their thought process was like. Anyways, based on the player feedback, so this is apparently because people voice their opinions on the Steam, on the forums, on Discord, and videos and tweets. Korean voiceover DLC options. So this will be obtainable in free deal. So this is really good. So you don't actually have to pay for Korean voiceovers, but you will be able to select the Korean voices for a game. I think this is massive because we now have the official support to get the original voices. And there are quite a few people that do enjoy Korean voiceovers or the original voiceovers as opposed to the Western ones. So this is crazily good. Some early game cutscenes are no skippable. I think this is good because some people have done it multiple times. Some people are just not interested in story. So I think always having the option is really good. Balance tweaks for pacing the game. Another huge point of feedback that we received during the closed beta test was that many players felt like some of the game's pacing and gearing was not quite challenging enough. I would really love to see what they're specifically aiming at here. We've worked to make balance changes to combat. This, while it won't slow down you early on, the endgame content will prove a bit more challenging to players. Does this reflect the Guardian buff, where they buff the Guardian's HP and damage, or is this reflecting to something else? I would really like to see what the actual, what the tweaking is here, but we presumably will see this in the patch notes. Community FAQ, character customization questions. What are character stronghold and guild naming restrictions? So, this is another downy for me. Following are restricted. Special characters, so you can't use exclamation mark, ads, hashtags, dollars, percentages, rather. It seems like you can't use any special characters. And you can only use a capitalized letter at the start. So, this weird dude guy, McFly, is not possible, which is kind of a shame, really. Because most people are probably going to have their name plus class. Because, most people are going to play alts or something. Which, I would just really love it if we could have a capital letter inside of the name as like Wilkie Blade or Wilkie Paladin. But apparently we will not be able to do this, which is kind of a bummer to me. But I guess this is something we have to live with. Character name reservation. We talked about this, I made a PSA video about this. This is the same as basically stated in one of the forum posts by Rox. They have to use a manual refresh in order to allow people to reset their names. But it's not something we expect to do regularly and start during the near future. So, what they're essentially saying, if you're trying to reserve your name, be prepared that it might take a while for the name to actually be up for grabs again. They didn't say anything, they just said that it's not going to be like a routine thing. So you're essentially gambling for name reservation here at this point. What's the maximum number of letters that you're allowed to be used in a character's name or guild? Guild names are 2 to 20 characters, and character names are 2 to 16. Now, the space numbers, multiple capital letters cannot be used, which is essentially what they shown here. Character voice selection, yes, we will include voice number 3 and number 4. Founders packs and skin question. Is it possible to stack founder packs for multiple rewards? Players can buy one of each founders packs, which will stack, meaning they will receive all of the contents they purchase. The only things that will not stack are the 3-day head start. Well, I guess that's given. And the founder's title, which is the same title for each pack. So everything else is stackable. How will you receive your founder pack content and what classes are available? Founders packs will be delivered to your product inventory, so this is like an in-game mailbox. You don't directly get it on the first character login. So if you go into the in-game, most likely it's going to be this in-game inbox here, and every character you have has access to this. So you're going to be having this in your item box, and as long as you don't take it out here, any character that you make has access to it. Whichever character you take this on is probably going to have it bound, so make sure that you think about it. Also, you can check what contents they are, whether they're going to be bound or not is something that we don't know. They didn't state this here, but at least you have the choice on which characters to move this on. Be sure to open your Northern Lawmaker or Platinum skin with a chest with a character you want to use, as the skin will be set to match this character's class. So, if I'm playing Deadeye and I'm gonna open my Platinum skin on Deadeye, it's gonna be a Deadeye skin, and I can't like change it anymore. So definitely make sure whatever character you use your skins on, that's the one you actually want to use. These skins will be only usable on the 15 classes, so this is also another thing. You can't just stack the boxes in your inventory or in the inbox, and whatever new class is coming out, you're gonna open that. That new class will not have access to the Northern Lawmaker or Platinum skin outfit. So, 15 classes we have at launch. This is what you have, and these are the classes that you can use this outfit on. Nothing else. Miscellaneous gameplay questions. What happens if your guild leader doesn't log in? This is more like a quality of life change. If the guild leader should be absent for 10 days, you can actually promote one of the other officers, or deputies, what it's called here, to be guild lead. Will players be able to get content or rewards from events occurred in Korea, Russia? This is most likely probably going to referring to like Makoko outfits and other special event outfits. Some of these items may appear in our version of the game for various events. So I'm fairly certain we're going to get Makoko events. We're probably also going to get like the other fashion thingies like summer events, the mouse event, the cow event. So will players be able to change the font in game? Unfortunately not. The in-game font and size cannot be changed. This is a bummer. This is a huge bummer for a lot of people. Well, we get to live. However, the font size within the text can be changed. So you can actually adjust the size from the text itself, but nothing else is there. In case of damage numbers being unreadable, high-resolution monitors, this is a known bug that is currently out for fix. Rather than having a roster-based PvP rank, this can be character-based. We don't have plans on changing this, so it's still going to be your account that's going to have one ranking. There are currently no changes, but they're taking this feedback with them. Looking ahead, while we'll know there's a ton of excitement surrounding the launch day and launch day information, rest assured that we'll have more details on the way for you to next week. So next week, we're gonna get, hopefully, maybe a roadmap. They didn't say anything about a roadmap, they just said anything specifically about patch notes. So who knows, maybe they'll give us a roadmap. I assume we're gonna get a roadmap post-launch, actually. But at least we're gonna get patch notes. This article will include launch day instructions for players, the launch server list. This is really good. Information about leaker reset times, the exact server open pre-download times. This is all really good, because this makes it way easier for us to plan ahead. Before launch, we also have plans to share additional details about the Lost Ark's business model and monetization, full launch patch notes, some information of what makes this version of the game different from other versions, and more. There will also be a roadmap to share our post-launch plans headed your way once the game is in our hands. So, as I just mentioned, the roadmap is probably going to go live once the servers are actually live, not before, but all of the other intel is probably going to be shared next week. As always, thank you for the support. So, this is, like I said, this is huge. I still can't really grasp, because my entire plans are nullified in a few lines of text. But yeah, this is pretty wild. Anyways, this is my breakdown. Like I said, I don't think it's necessarily bad or evil. I'm just really curious on how they try to pan this, like what their plans are to streamline this progress into tier 3. Outside of this, I think most of this is pretty good. It's a little bit of a bummer that we can't use names and that the font is not changeable, but the rest seems pretty solid, and we're gonna get more information next week. So, yeah, rest assured, I will be making follow-up videos. I will redo my plans, and I'll probably make a video talking about my plans now that we know that the launch is gonna look quite different. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Outside of this, I do hope this was somewhat helpful. Don't be scared. Literally, don't be scared. I see this as an opportunity, although I'm not necessarily super fond of it, because I personally would have rather enjoyed sitting in tier 1 and tier 2 for a while, because there's a lot of content to be done there. But they have other plans for us, so we have to adjust and make the best out of this. I still think Lost Ark in the West is going to be a successful game, so I'm definitely very hyped for the game. Outside of this, like I said, I also stream every now and then, so feel free to check out my Twitch, and in case anything else there is, you are free to opt in to any other social media as you can find in the descriptions below. Send me a message, send me a comment if you want to talk about anything, and hopefully this will shed some light on what we're getting into. It's gonna be a lot. I can only repeat myself, it's gonna be a lot of content. For those people who never played Lost Ark, you're in for a ride. You are in for a ride, you're gonna have a lot of stuff to do. It's gonna be packed to the brim. I think this is the first game ever to launch with so much content. It's crazy. Anyways, this is all. Hope to see you guys next time, so do stay safe and take care.
Stay in fact, you want me